After the victory against the British in the War 1812, the new American Republic became independent, and it encouraged expansionism. In the decades prior to the Civil War, the nation grew in size, economic and politics. In the 19th century, the rapid expansion bring the new demands on the politics system. A lot of interest group politics appeared at that time period.
In 1801, John Marshall was named Chief Justice by John Adams and held the position until his death in 1835, and shaped the court's decisions and raised its stature. He also defined the basic relationship of the judiciary to the rest of the federal government. In Jefferson's view, the Federalists retired into the judiciary as a stronghold, and from that battery all the works of republicanism are to be beaten down and destroyed. As in so many areas, the two political parties fundamentally disagreed. What John Marshall's decisions are very important to American history. He shaped America's decision in the judicial branch. In 1834, political opponents of President Andrew Jackson organized a new party to contest Jacksonian Democrats nationally and in the states. Guided by their most prominent leader, Henry Clay, they called themselves Whigs. The Whigs won a popular vote for their candidates that was close to the popular tally for the Democrats, and in 1840 and 1848, the party captured the White House. It managed to win support from diverse economic groups in all sections and to hold its own in presidential elections. Historians have interpreted the Whigs in strikingly different ways. They have been seen as champions of banks, business, corporations, economic growth, the positive literal state, humanitarian reform, and morality in politics, and as opponents of expansionism, executive tyranny, states' rights, labor, and the democratic suffrage, among other things.
Hi, this is Empire Channel. Today, we are allowed to use Darth Vader's time machine to go back in time to interview President James Moore and Andrew Jackson about Jackson democracy and Missouri Compromise.
Hi, President. We've heard near the compromise today, right?
Yes, the problem between the Northerners and the Southerners finally got solved.
So what's the problem exactly?
Missouri wanted to be a slave state. Because of this, tensions begin to rise. This will unbalance the anti-slave states and pro-slave states.
How did the compromise stop the problem?
The Congress orchestrated a two-part compromise, granting Missouri's request, but also admitting mining as a free state. What's more, the amendment drew an imaginary line across the former Louisiana Territory, establishing a boundary between free and slave regions that remained the law of the land.
Hi, Mr. Jackson.
Hi.
How are you today?
Fine.
So I have a few questions about the Jacksonian Party.
Okay.
So what are the essential beliefs of the Jacksonian Party?
I believe it's suffrage, presidential power, national expansion, economic, and banking.
So what are your expectations for the Democratic Party?
It will arise of the profound social and economic changes in the early 19th century.
So how would that happen?
Crisis of political faith.
Now, let's talk about nullification crisis and Free Soul Party.
1828. The Vice President John Caldwell Calhoun said that the federal tax in South Carolina is null. Since at that time, the federal tax is good for the northern industry but bad for the southern farming in America, so the legislature in South Carolina said it's against the Constitution. To solve this problem, President Andrew Jackson sent military power to force South Carolina to obey the federal law. However, South Carolina declared that the military power is also null. The conflict between John Caldwell Calhoun and Andrew Jackson became stronger and stronger. In 1829, April the 13th, Jackson chose to make his position clear in a battle of toasts. He proposed, "Our federal union, it must be preserved." Calhoun responded with his own toast, "The Union, next to our liberty, the most dear." This crisis kept going until Henry Clay mediated this problem in 1833 and saved the day. The Free Soil Party developed in part from a political rivalry in New York. The party included farmers, anti-slavery members from Whig Party and the Democratic Party. The purpose of this party is to end slavery in the Western territories.